The Ramadhan Foundation. He's joining us on the phone from London. Thank you very much for your time. What's your reaction to this incident?
Well, this was a despicable act of violence directed at Muslims leaving evening prayers, the Tarawih prayers. And according to eyewitnesses I've spoken to on the ground, it was a deliberate attempt by a van that was driven towards people who were pedestrians, with one man coming out of the van and stabbing one individual. We know at this moment, not confirmed yet officially, but there are at least 3 fatalities and many injured. It's a very sad day. Once again, London and the United Kingdom is attacked from extremists and terrorism, and we condemn it without any reservation.
Mr. Shafiq, can I just, before we go any further, you're calling this a deliberate attempt. You're saying that the man in the vehicle came out and apparently stabbed someone. You're also saying that there have been fatalities. Who is telling you this information, sir?
The information is coming from eyewitnesses on the ground who witnessed the van driving deliberately at pedestrians, and obviously those witnesses have also said there are at least 3 fatalities. Again, we're going to have to wait for the official confirmation of these news around fatalities, but we're very clear that Muslims were deliberately targeted tonight by the far right, and we must condemn it without any reservation.
What do you think the mood is amongst the Muslim community in London at the moment?
It's very tense, it's very anxious and very concerned, that having just dealt with the London Bridge terrorist attacks only a few weeks ago, the Manchester attack and the Tower fire only this week, but once again our city and our country is under attack. And we must be very clear that as we openly condemn terrorism and extremism from within a minority of Muslims, we should have no hesitation to condemn the violence and extremism that's been perpetuated by the far right. There's rampant Islamophobia on the rise due to certain commentators and politicians who have fed the paranoia about Islam and Muslims, and this is one of the consequences of that rhetoric and Islamophobia.
We should point out, of course, that we don't have any official confirmation of the identities of the people who've been injured or possibly killed in this incident. So as a result, the facts that we're dealing with are pretty vague at the moment. So there may also have been non-Muslims in that crowd as well. What is the sense, do you think, that of the security situation that there is in London at the moment? We've had 2 attacks, 2 very severe attacks in London so far. The security level was already very high in the city, but those were for areas that were predominantly tourist and high-profile areas. This is Finsbury Park. How shocking is it that it's happened here?
It's very shocking. This is, as I said, it's the holy month of Ramadan. People were leaving the Tarawih prayer, so it just happened around 12:20. I mean, you're showing, I think, images now of one of the suspects being detained and put into a police van where he waves at the Muslims in a sort of jokey sort of way. Again, as you said, it's important for us to wait for the official confirmation from the authorities. I've got absolutely every confidence in their ability to get to determine what has happened, who was responsible, and justice be served. But people are feeling very anxious, very concerned at this moment in time that members of our community were deliberately targeted tonight.
I was talking earlier to Mohammed Shafiq. He's chairman of Finsbury Park Mosque, and he was saying that he and his worshippers, those at the mosque, have been making attempts to try to preempt hate crimes or offset hate crimes by going out into the community. Is there more that the Muslim community can do, do you think, in order to try and solve this problem? Or is there more also that the authorities should be doing, do you think, to try to protect people?
Well, you saw it in the reaction, not just from the London attack, but also from the Manchester attack, and this week the fire in the Grenfell Tower, where people from all communities have come together. And yes, we as Muslims need to be doing more outreach to the non-Muslim community, and I think there are many Muslim organisations that are engaged in that work. But there is a serious disconnection between society and the political ruling class, and that's something that we've got to address. The rhetoric of far-right extremists and commentators from within the media needs to be addressed, and the rampant Islamophobia that we see time and time again has to be called out for what it is. Obviously, tonight, is the consequences of that rhetoric.
Is there more action, do you think, that could be taken to try and offset the fears that the Muslim community particularly have in terms of warning the police about hate crimes? We noticed that after the bombing in Manchester, there was a rise in hate crimes, and yet we were told that people were very concerned about reporting hate crimes because they felt nothing was going to be done by the authorities. Is that something that you're familiar with?
Yes, there are. It's been so difficult to get people to actually report hate crimes. They do get underreported. And one of the consequences of reporting it is that police resources, police cuts carried out by our government have led to less resources to investigate those hate crimes. But the message I give to British Muslims whenever I'm out and about in the community is to report everything so that it's registered. We will see an increase in hate crimes against Muslims as a direct result of this attack tonight. And that's why we urge mosques across the country to step up security to make sure that there is no copycat attack.
Mohammed Shafiq, thank you very much indeed, Chief Executive of the Ramadan Foundation. We appreciate your time. Let's go back to Al Jazeera's Ben.